Hey there, and welcome back to the Catholic History Minute. Today our story comes from more recent times and the most unlikely of places, Hollywood. Now when we think of Hollywood, images of Sodom and Gomorrah might come to mind, and in the 1950s it wasn't all that different. However, today's story illustrates how our Lord, through the intercession of the Blessed Mother, can work in the most godless of communities. Grace Kelly is probably best known for the 11 movies she'd appeared in, including Rear Window, High Noon, To Catch a Thief, Dial M for Murder, and Country Girl, for which she won an Oscar. She was beloved for her glamorous roles and her refined behavior on screen. However, behind all her well-known characters, the true love story of Grace Kelly is one of the most profound in modern history. Grace Kelly grew up in an Irish Catholic family from Philadelphia. She entered showbiz at the age of 20, and within 7 years she retired at the stately age of 26. Not too shabby, but she needed to retire to take on her duties as the Princess of Monaco, which she became when she married Prince Rainier III on April 19, 1956. And the story behind this marriage should be inspiring to all young men and women seeking the vocation God has in mind for them. For this story, we need to go back 2 years to 1954. Now, some perspective. 1954 was the first year the Wall Street stock market reached levels equivalent to those before the Great Depression. It was the year the French evacuated from Vietnam, leaving Americans holding the bag. It was also the year that almost half of Grace Kelly's 11 movies hit the big screen. And it just so happens that 1954 was also a year dedicated to the Blessed Mother by Pope Pius XII for the 100th anniversary of the dogmatic definition of the Immaculate Conception. So, the faithful Catholic Prince Rainier III of Monaco made a pilgrimage to Lourdes to pray to Our Lady for her guidance in finding his future wife. Now, it makes sense that the prince would go to Lourdes in the year dedicated to the Immaculate Conception when we remember that Our Lady calls herself the Immaculate Conception to St. Bernadette. So, needless to say, Our Lady of the Immaculate Conception is going to play a starring role in this love story. Well, less than a year later, in April 1955, our prince met Grace Kelly when she served with the American delegation for the Cannes Film Festival in the south of France. At the time, she was actually in another relationship. However, something about her must have struck the prince, because later that year in December, our prince comes to the United States. Now, the American press is all abuzz because it's rumored that the prince is searching for his wife. First though, the prince has to go to D.C. He does a bunch of princely things as head of his state, but eventually the prince goes and meets with Grace Kelly and her family. 3 days later, wouldn't you know it, they're engaged. However, there's a problem. The Irish-American Kelly family expected Grace to be married in her home parish of St. Bridget. But the prince, well, he's a prince, and his wedding's not only a covenantal event, but also a state event. So, the Kellys fly St. Bridget of East Falls pastor to Monaco to be the celebrant. They also repaint the ceiling of St. Bridget to mirror that of the Cathedral in Monaco. It's a beautiful Catholic wedding ceremony, and it's publicized throughout the world. However, those paying attention can see the hand of Our Lady. The name of the cathedral which the happy couple made their vows just happened to be dedicated to Our Lady of the Immaculate Conception. Also, after the wedding, Grace Kelly reveals that her confirmation name is in fact Bernadette, after the great saint to whom Our Lady appeared at Lourdes. Now, all you cynics out there may be saying, well, that's just coincidence. Well, it wasn't coincidence to Grace Kelly. And in 1979, on the 25th anniversary of Prince Rainier's visit to the shrine at Lourdes, Grace Kelly herself makes a pilgrimage to the same spot where her husband had prayed for his future wife. Many have called this story a fairy tale, but it wasn't. It was two people with the help of Our Lady who found what our Lord intended for them. When Prince Rainier first arrived in America in 1955, reporters asked him, "What type of woman would you wish to marry?" And the prince replied, "I don't know, the best." That is exactly what Our Lady delivered. So if you know a young lady or gentleman seeking their vocation, prompt them. Pray to Our Lady of the Immaculate Conception, because who can argue with the results? Thanks for watching, and until next time, Our Lady of the Immaculate Conception, pray for us.